Seokjin, 22 May, year 22. I looked at others again. They were making silly jokes, laughing, chatting, and roaring with laughter again when someone sprang up and started dancing. I couldn't believe what was unfolding before my eyes. We got here together after so many trials and errors. I had dreamed of this for so long and so desperately that it seemed impossible it was actually happening. But I felt uneasy because I still had something to confess. I kept hesitating and couldn't muster up the courage. But I couldn't run away from it all anymore. Unless I told them, I wouldn't be able to look my friends in the face. When dinner was almost over, I told them I had something to say. But they didn't pay much attention. Only Taeyong was staring at me. Several days ago, he came to me and asked me about the dream he had been having. You know what it means, right? He pressed me for an answer, but I acted like I didn't know. I said, how could I know? It was just a dream. Taeyong got upset and turned away. It wasn't completely a lie. I didn't know why Taeyong had been having such a dream. But I did know how brutal it was. That's why I couldn't tell him the truth. All the more so because I knew what he was wondering about. He didn't need to know that it wasn't a dream, him killing his father, but that it happened in real life, repetitively. No one should go through life with such agony. I wouldn't take my decision back even if it hurt our friendship. I turned my head away to avoid Taeyong's eyes. I closed my mouth, caught my breath, and spoke more clearly this time. I have something to tell you. Namjoon and Hoseok stared at me, and the others also quieted down. I should have told you this a long time ago, when we were in high school. Taeyong interrupted. When we were in high school? When you ratted on us to the principal? Or when Yoongi got kicked out of school because of that? Which one are you talking about? Criticism was plainly written on Taeyong's face. Taeyong, Namjoon called him in an obvious attempt to hold him back. Taeyong shook Namjoon's hand off with his eyes solidly fixed on me. That was all you're doing. No one said anything. Everyone was caught off guard and couldn't think of anything to say. I looked at Yoongi. Taeyong was right. Yoongi was expelled from school because of me. I mumbled with my head bent low. I'm sorry. Taeyong began to speak again. Taeyong, 22 May, year 22. Seokjin, is that all? Aren't you hiding something from us? I glared at Seokjin. He stared back at me. I was about to press him harder when someone grabbed my shoulder to stop me. I knew who it was without looking back. It was Namjoon. Don't cut in. Why do you care? You are not even my real brother. I could feel Namjoon's eyes on the back of my head. I shook his hands off without even looking at him. I knew it too. I was taking out my anger on Namjoon. When I was headed for our lodging from the beach, passing through the pine forest, I heard Namjoon talking on the phone. Every word he said was right. I was only a year younger and I wasn't his real brother. I had to take care of myself. But it still hurt. Taeyong, I'm sorry. So let's just stop here. It was Seokjin who first opened his mouth. Seokjin was the one who told me he was sorry. Namjoon didn't say anything. He just kept staring at me with angry eyes. Stop what? Just lay it all out. You're hiding something from us. Everyone's gaze was now fixed on Seokjin. Seokjin gave a look that seemed to tell us to stop. Let's go outside and talk. Namjoon grabbed my arm again. I tried to shake his hand off, but he tightened his grip to take me outside. I braced myself against him. Let me go. What right do you think you have? What do you know? You don't know anything. You think you're something special, huh? It was then. Namjoon abruptly let go of my arm and I stumbled in reaction. Or it wasn't a reaction that made me stumble. The moment he let go of my arm, It felt as if the chain that linked us snapped in the middle. Everything that propped me up and served as my footing seemed to crack and split. Maybe I was hoping he wouldn't let go of my arm till the end. Maybe I was hoping he would yell at me to shut up and drag me outside fuming. Maybe I was hoping he'd give me a good scolding like he would do to his real brother or someone too precious to give up. But he released my arm. I couldn't help but smirk. I was smirking before I knew it. I spit out, "What is all the fuss about being together? What are we to each other? We are all alone in the end." At that moment, Seokjin hit me. Jimin, 22 May, year 22. "We should go too." That's what Hoseok said. I turned my head, looking past the door of our lodging. The table, chairs, pots, and dishes were scattered all over the place. "Jimin, come on." I closed the door hurriedly. They were way ahead of me. Yoongi and Hoseok took the lead, with Jungkook following closely behind them. There were 7 of us when we first came, and now only 4 were left. I looked up as we passed the observatory. There was no light on the beach after the sunset. The observatory and sea withdrew into the darkness, and nothing was visible. There were only the roar of lapping waves. I realized that this was the place we visited when we first came to the sea together, the rock which was said to make dreams come true. We cried at the top of our lungs on this same spot where the rock had been blown to bits to make way for a new resort. "Jungkook, wasn't it somewhere around here?" I looked back, but Jungkook was already bolting way ahead of the others. Hoseok called after him, but he didn't seem to hear. It occurred to me then. Jungkook is also moving forward along his own path. Jungkook had always been behind the others. He had tagged along and stopped when the others stopped. I was the same. I looked in every direction at an intersection. I had to turn left to get to the train station or right to take the bus home. I had to go back someday. I couldn't avoid my home forever. I had to confess my lies and tell the truth to my parents. Even if they weren't willing to hear them, I had to start fastening the first button at some point. I saw Yoongi step into the road on the left. "Jimin, hurry up." Hoseok turned his head towards me. "Hoseok, I'm going home now." With a puzzled look, he asked, "Home?" I nodded. Then I turned right. Jungkook, 22 May, year 22. I felt like my body was floating in the air, but the next minute I was lying on the hard ground. I couldn't feel anything for some time. My entire body felt so heavy that I couldn't even lift my eyelids. I couldn't swallow or breathe. As I fell into a semi-conscious state, I grew warmer and warmer, and my body suddenly shook all over. An undefinable pain and thirst instinctively forced my eyes open. Something shimmery caught my eye, which felt dried out as if filled with sand. At first I thought it was light, but it wasn't. It was bright, big, and blurry. It hung in the air, motionless. I kept staring at it for a while, and it began to take shape. It was the moon. The world appeared upside down. My head must have been tilted back in that world. Moon was also upside down. I tried to breathe by coughing, but I couldn't move. A cold fit swept over my body. It was frightening. I tried to open my lips but couldn't utter a word. My vision kept fading even though my eyes were open. Someone asked me a question as my consciousness grew dimmer and dimmer. "It'll be more painful to live than to die. Do you still want to live?"